Hello, I'm Leah Crawford, one of the Opening Doors authors, and in this learning journey we are going to understand how to create drama through dialogue. That's through creating our own voices. Let's get started. So here's a voice, here's a little piece of speech. Now I'd like you to think about different ways to say that could create a different kind of drama. So I'll give you an example. I could say it like this. Shut the door. Now, I don't know if you agree, but that is creating some kind of secret situation. We're in conspiracy, me, the speaker, and you, the listener, and I don't want anyone outside this room to be able to hear what it is we're going to talk about. Certainly some kind of secret. Okay, so can you see there perhaps more clearly, just by the way I said the words, I was suggesting a situation and a sense of character, even relationship with my listener, just by the way that I was saying the words. Okay, so here's a challenge. I'd like you to pause the video in a moment and think about, challenge yourself, maybe 3 different ways to say those words that create 3 different kind of dramas in the situation. Off you go. Okay, so now we're going to enter our poem of the day, and here's a moment from it. She shall come in, answered the open door, and not, said the room, go out any more. So, what the characters and what are the situation created by these words? Again, in a moment you'll be able to play with different ways of saying that out loud, but let's just clarify some of those elements together first. So characters, who do we have? Pause, have a think. Yeah, that's right, we have got inanimate objects in the room speaking. We've got the door and the room. But we've also got, haven't we, the she that they are talking about outside the room. So you've got some sort of female character outside. Okay, now, what is the mysterious situation? Just from the clues that we've got. She shall come in and not go out anymore. The answer isn't clear in the text yet, but I'd like you to pause again, really stretch your imagination. Can you think together of 3 reasons, 3 different reasons why she will not be able to go out anymore? Good reasons, bad reasons? Your decision. Okay, now you've developed some sense of character and meaning to the situation, you can lift these words off the page, bring them to life. Yeah, so decide on the situation you would really want to transmit, to dramatise for your listeners, and perform the lines to bring the characters and the situation to life. That will mean you might read it quite differently to me. It's up to you. This is your version. Have a play. Off you go. Okay, now that little moment we read wasn't from the very opening of our poem today. This is the opening. Okay, so we're going to take that mystery that we've got about the female character not being able to leave again. We've got that hanging in the back of our mind there. Now let's enter the poem from the start. There's someone at the door, said Gold Candlestick. Let her in quick, let her in quick. There is a small hand groping at the handle. Why don't you turn it? Asked Green Candle. Okay, 2 different characters. How are they feeling about this female figure at the door? One of them really wants her in. One of them saying, no, you open it. What might that suggest? So, here's a taster draft. Dive in, do some writing yourselves. Write the next stanza and bring alive the voices of 2 other objects in the room. How about a chair? How about the walls? People say the walls see everything. perhaps even the carpet that's had its ear to the ground all this time. What has it heard? What has it sensed? What will they say in your stanza of the poem? And what can you suggest about their character, how they feel about this female figure at the door from the words that they say? Okay, pause the video, have a go, have fun with that challenge. Now we're ready to dive into the whole poem. So, wonderful dramatisation of voices. Green Candles by Humbert Wolff. There's someone at the door, said Gold Candlestick. Let her in quick, let her in quick. There is a small hand groping at the handle. Why don't you turn it? Asked Green Candle. Don't go, said the Hepplewhite Chair, lest you find a strange lady there. Yes, stay where you are, whispered the White Wall. There is nobody there at all. I know her little foot, Grey Carpet said. You but I should know her light tread. She shall come in, answered the open door, and not, said the room, go out any more. Drama indeed. All responding to this figure outside the door in different ways. Let's try to unravel as much of this mystery as we can together. Let's go deeper with our reading before we start to write. Now, let's think about this lady, they call her, outside of the door. Can we make any more deductions about her from the clues that we are given? Yes, what kind of picture can we build in our mind? So, giving you a little help here, I've highlighted some of those clues that might give us hints about the lady outside. A small hand and a little foot and a light tread is suggesting she's small. She is quite slight, yes, but does that mean she's young and slight? Small? She could be an older lady, but just very slight in her frame. That's possible. Groping at the handle? If you're groping, you're struggling to get hold of it, does that mean that could suggest she's old and perhaps, finding it difficult to open the handle, it's slipping? Or could it mean she's quite desperate to get in? Is she trying to escape something? Different possibilities. Now, how about the fact that the chair calls her strange? A strange lady could mean an odd lady, a lady we should be uncertain of, but strange can also mean just unknown. She is a stranger to us. We have not met her before. Yeah? So, we've pieced together her slightness. We're wondering about that groping. Is that desperation to get in? We're wondering whether this room knows the lady. Yeah? Ooh, take that a little further. The carpet says he knows her little foot and she has been here before. Is it a stranger just to the chair but not to the carpet? Interesting. Mystery deepens. Now, there are other clues here about the lady, not just from descriptions of her. Let's go even deeper with our challenge. What could we tell about her from what the objects say about her? Now, the way we do this, we're going to get some help from a wonderful researcher at University of East London called Wayne Tennant, and he invites us as readers to explain, make sure we clarify and understand the words in the poem, but then go between the lines and explore, a bit like we did just there, what are the different possibilities? What could these words mean more than the literal? And then to expand our meaning and really try to get inside the mind of this writer, this poet. Yes, be evaluative. What is it that they're guiding me to understand? What kind of meanings are they trying to create in this dramatic moment? So I've followed through one of these layers for you. Let's take that dialogue of the candlestick. Let her in quick, let her in quick. What might this tell us about the relationship between the candlestick and this person, this female figure at the door? He wants her to come in, so he likes her. There's one inference possibility. Perhaps they can sense she's in danger, yes, and they want to protect her, and that might link to the groping hand on the handle, mightn't it? Or does the candlestick want to get her in quickly so that they can trap her? Yeah, that links to the idea that the candlestick likes the figure, but perhaps not in a very positive way. Interesting. Okay, now if I expand that and try to climb inside the mind of this writer, is it that they want me to be wondering about all these mysteries, this uncertainty? Because I can't pin it down, I think this is deliberate. I think this mystery is deliberate. Candlestick's voice can have all of those layers of meaning, but what I can be certain about is the tone of this dramatic voice is urgent. Let her in quick, let her in quickly. That repetition, yes, the rhyme in the line, I pick up on that urgency, that sense of panic. As a reader, it's very unsettling, and I think the poet really wants me to pick up on that and respond to that. Okay, so there's something you could take forward if you want to. I'm giving you a little bit of help with some of those snippets you could explain. Yes, what do they mean? But then explore, what do those dialogue voices tell you about the relationship between the object and the female at the door? Yeah, can you infer? And can you infer different possibilities? And then can you expand and think, how does the poet want me to respond? What are they trying to do? How are they trying to influence me here? And what might the deep story be that's sitting in the belly of this poem? So you could pause the video here if you wish and do your own explain, explore, expand grid to go as deep as you possibly can in building meanings and story and inferences within this poem. Another way of deepening your understanding of the poem is to make your own art, to be inspired by it. We're inviting you here to listen to Gustav Holst's own creative response to Humbert Wolff's poetry. Listen to that music and see whether you think the mood of his music matches your interpretation of the poem so far. You might use that to help inspire you. Make a piece of visual art like our wonderful illustrator Victoria Cox has here. She's imagined this moment of the opening door and a young lady, it would seem, at it being drawn in. Draw your own, paint your own room. How are you going to capture the mood that you felt in this poetry through your choice of colour and shadow and candlelight? You could perform just through sound, so a reading of the poem, but perhaps use that music in the background. And how about some of those crucial sound effects to give that sense of the story as it emerges, the footsteps, the creaking door, the voices, the turning handle? Or how about a full visual? You could film it. Add more object voices in the empty room. Develop that drama. It's your piece of art. Are you happy with that really unsettling ending that the lady will never leave the room? Do you want to change it? It's up to you. So, before we begin to write, let's summarise for ourselves what it is that has made this poem so dramatic. I think we have to admit one of the most important aspects of this poem is this range of voices, these objects coming to life and talking about the figure outside the door. They're responding differently. There's her let her in quick of the gold candlestick at the start, desperate for her to come in. There's that uncertainty of the chair, not sure if she's strange, if they should let her in. So those different voices, those different characters, pausing this moment, bringing it to life. There's also something about the structure, the form of this poem. The urgency comes from the regular rhythm and beautiful rhyming couplets. Both of those things are driving us through the poem to that end, which is so ominous. She will not go out again. So there's a galloping urgency through the poem and then that ominous end. There is, of course, the mystery, the gap in the poem that we have to bring our own minds into to fill. Who is she? Now, the carpet feels she's been there before. I know her. The walls are not so sure. She could be unknown to them. She could be strange. If she has been there before, who was she? Why is she returning? Yes? And the mystery of the whole story. Just why was this poem written? What is it about? Rooms and visitations over time, returning to a point in your past. Does this room feel betrayed, perhaps? Yes, or desperate to see this figure again? What is this poem about? What does it mean to you? So, these are all things you could choose to use to experiment with in your own writing, but also the more we read will help us to go deeper in our writing as well. So there's a whole range of dialogue voices poems here, old and modern, that you could go to for further inspiration. At the end there is also a dialogic picture book. So use your deductive powers for a moment. If a book is called The Worm and the Bird, what could the tension in this story be? And we hear the voice of the worm, we hear the voice of the bird. They cannot hear each other, but we can hear them. Beautiful tension in that book to follow up on. And then why not spread your wings and fly with your own piece of creative writing. You might choose to go back to that taster draft we had a go at the beginning of this little learning journey, where you continued the poem, you brought some of those objects' voices to life. Why not continue with that? Or your own brand new creation. Pick 2 objects in the room that you're in. Yes, your favourite room in the house, or perhaps a spooky old or interesting old house you visited in the past. Pick 2 objects. How are they speaking to each other and why? Are they having an argument? Are they plotting some kind of secret conspiracy against the people who live in the house? Perhaps these 2 objects are in love, but they're placed forever on separate ends of the sideboard, never to meet. There's a tragicomedy you could take forward. How about writing this lady's reply to the objects in the room as she enters in the next 3 stanzas? So the voice shifts to her. We get to hear her voice, her mood, her story. Or how about going back in time? Yes, that carpet said, I know her tread, she's been here before. When did the lady first come to the room? Why was she there? How did the room feel about her then? And why did she leave? Yes, and why do some of them want her to come back? Some of them are not so sure about her. So many possibilities. As ever, we would love it if you would share your work with us, even if it is just a little sliver of your taster draft. We publish taster drafts on our wonderful publisher Crown House's website. They can be those little slivers, or they could be a complete poem, an adaptation of Humbert Wolff's, your own creation. Ask an adult in your house to email your work to us with that means that we have their permission to read it. We would ask them permission to publish it on the site. What an exciting thought to think your work could be up there for all sorts of other teachers and learners to read. So we hope you have enjoyed their delving deeper into dialogue voices and enjoy that challenge of creativity to create your own